Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for showing up. You know, as I talked about in my previous video, I said step number one is to make a decision. So you've made that decision. Step number two is showing up. So now we're going to move on to a series that I'm doing that's 9 steps to success. And step number one is know your why. Now, what's your why? Well, that is completely personal. I have mine and you have yours. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Most importantly, you need to know what your why is, and it's got to be more than, hey, I just want to make a couple extra bucks. See, it can be the things that money can buy, but it doesn't have to be. But it can't be money itself. Money is just a tool. It's simply dirty paper. That's all it is. But it's a tool to get us some of the things that we'd like in life, correct? So, you got to know your why. Now, I'm going to tell you that you're going to need to put your why down on paper. See, a lot of people, they'll call me up and we'll go through this 9 series when it's over and they'll say, hey, Jeff, you know, hey, I'm just not making it as fast as I want. And I'm like, did you put your why down on paper? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, you got to put it down on paper or we can't even go to step 2 in the series. So put it down on paper and then call me back. And see, this is extremely important because it's psychological. See, thoughts are things, Napoleon Hill. So we want to put our thoughts down on paper to make it more tangible. Now, you may have heard this before. A lot of people have a couple rumors going around. And one of the rumors is that there was a Harvard study done in 1979 that stated that the 3% of the graduating class that wrote down its goals out-earned the 97% who did not by 10 times. Now that sounds really cool, but it's not true. I will tell you, it's not true. There's another from 1953, very similar, that they claim that Yale University did. Again, not true. So let's skip the hype, let's skip the fiction, and let's get with the facts. There have been a number of studies done that people who put their why down on paper and network marketing have become far more successful. Why do I know this? Because I've been doing this for 22 years. And if you're serious about building it big, you're going to put your why down on paper. Now, I talk about sponsoring a lot. See, and I say if you're going to sponsor, you're going to have to know your consultant's why. That's really simple. And I'm going to give you a hot tip, and I bet you never heard it before, and I created it. Here we go. If you're just going to recruit and see who sticks, that's one thing. But I care about who I sponsor. I'm actually asking them, give or take a couple hundred, for $500. Sometimes I ask them, give or take a couple hundred, $1,000. And the truth is, the more skin in the game, the better they do. But what's the difference? The difference between recruiting is getting that money and never talking to them again. Exaggerating a bit there, but a lot of them do it. But when you sponsor someone, you're going to want to know what their why is. I actually ask them to fax their written copy to me, okay, or email it any way they can get it to me, okay, or I build a relationship with them because some are not willing to give me some of those personal thoughts on paper, so I build a relationship with them. Now here's my hot tip. I always ask someone when they're just about to quit and they're thinking that in their mind, if they will please give me the courtesy of a phone call. I mean, I've put a lot of time and effort, and so have the other leaders on the team, and I'd like the courtesy of a phone call. Now, this phone call is not going to do any good if I don't know their why, if I just recruited them. But if I sponsored them, and I'm very serious about their success, it's going to mean a whole lot of difference. Because that's my opportunity to remind them. Remember, you wanted a better life for your family. Remember, you wanted that extra bedroom so 2 children would have to be in the same bedroom. I just remind them of what their why is. And when I remind them, I have a very, very good chance of them staying on the team. And that's really important. Not so much for me, but for them. See, if they quit, they're going to lose a lot. Person, I'm going to lose very, very little. Because one person doesn't make a team. But I do care. Because I know that they're putting their why off. Their reasons that they want to build this. So it's very important not only to know your why, but it's important to know the why of the people, especially that you personally sponsored. You just have to know that. So those are my hot tips. Write it down because it does matter. Even though the Harvard and Yale studies are fiction, it's still true. People who write down their goals, their why, their reasons, absolutely do better. Now, when you tell other people about your reasons why, it does absolutely phenomenal too, because then other people hold you accountable. Now, I'm going to give you an example of this. A lot of people go out and they recruit someone without knowing their why. And they teach them to go to their friends and family right off the bat. I say, no, 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 no. Don't do it. They see you're just showing that you're caring about the money. Now, make no mistake. I go to work to make money. I train and mentor to make money. But I want the most successful agents in the industry. And I'm going to have to know their why. Because if I send them to their friends and family without knowing their why, it's going to be a big problem. Because a lot of times those are the people that are the most rough on you. And if you don't have your why down and it's not on paper, a lot of times they'll call you back and they'll say something to the effect of, I've been doing some thinking. But what's really been happening is they've been doing some listening. And that's very, very different than thinking. And they've been listening to people tell them how they could never do it and it won't work for them and all these other things. But I'm here to tell you that millions of people have gone before you. And no matter what position you're in, if you're unemployed right now, this doesn't matter. If you're rich right now, this doesn't matter. If you're brilliant or not so brilliant, this doesn't matter. What matters is your reasons for wanting to do this. And if you're serious, you will find a way to get it done. And nothing will stop you. Now, I didn't say you won't have any challenges or people aren't going to say you can't get it done. But if you have your why, and it's written down on paper, and someone says these horrible things to you, and it's more than I just want to make a couple extra dollars, there's a strong reason backing it. No one's going to be able to stop you from achieving your goals. You're going to become an unstoppable force, and you're going to be one of the leaders in the industry no matter where you stand right now. It doesn't matter. You just have to know your why. And that's why I like to say network marketers that sponsor know their consultants' why, and they obviously know their why. So here's my call to action. Go right away, right now, if you haven't already done this, and put your why down on paper. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about a burning desire and exactly what that means. That fire that's inside some of us that makes us want to be better and more than average and ordinary.